For my 10 talk, I would like to talk about what I did basically and something amazing, something cool that came out of it. So I decided to get really smart, and I said, well, I'm gonna measure RSSI. I'm just gonna measure, signal strength at the client. And it's like, what cannot be, cool about that, and I guess not a lot, because we've got actually tools for that. There are a lot of tools for that. So you can ask me, why did I do that? Well, I did it to basically just to learn something, and I wanted to maybe improve something, and I just wanted to have some fun. I just wanted to make maybe a small tool. And what's not exciting about that, And I guess, not a lot, since there are, again, tools out there. So here's the basic deal. So we've got tools like Ekahau, we've got Android apps, and they all show us RSSI data. But that's data that's mostly, it's taken from beacons and whatnot, and some maybe other management frames. And I wanted RSSI data from beamformed packets. Beamforming is kind of getting traction, and Ruckus has been doing the beamforming since, with their antenna patterns and whatnot. But you could never get RSSI data, or at least without any specialized tools, maybe. So I wanted to just have some fun and say, well, what can I do with what's available free, and try that. So the idea was basically to take Linux, make a small script, just really basic script, and use T-Shark to capture some packets. These are data packets, and use Python to do some math on them. And this was my idea of how it would work. It's actually, you take an access point, basically any access point, but it has to do some beamforming, and if you want to measure that, but you can measure anything, any access point, and you take your client, and you start a download on your client, and then use your laptop or some other a laptop with a special USB key, USB NIC, to capture packets while you're downloading whatever you happen to be downloading. You can download anything, like a movie or something. And so the script is run here, actually off the device, not on the device. But the idea is that you capture packets in close proximity to the device, so you get the beamforming effect back. So this is the idea. Although it's not, as straightforward, it's not a one-step process. You have to do a bit of things. You actually need a specialized USB NIC that produces an additional header of information, and not all USB NICs do that. But what you need is so the NIC that you got from Ekahau is great for that. You can use that NIC because it produces the radio tap headers, which hold this information, the signal strength information. And then you need to understand what radio tap headers are, and there's a link here. And this will be available, if not on your USB keys right now, then later. So this is a link to Wi-Fi Nigel's page. He did I didn't know you're going to reference him, but so this is so to understand what radio type headers are, read his blog. It's a great blog. And then before you start the capture, you need to prepare your NIC. So, and there's another link there that's actually my blog that I blogged about how you set the channel on your NIC, how to put it in monitor mode and everything. So with this information, when you set up your NIC, you put it on the right channel and everything, you start the download and run the script, and from then on, it's mostly automatic. You just need to input you need to input a little bit of data into the script. So the data that I'm interested in is, the script is called, power check. That's going to be available also, for sure. I just call it powercheck.sh. It's a simple Linux script. This is basically, it's the most basic stuff, and I'm not a Linux guy or anything. I'm just, I just wanted to have some fun and learn something, and this is the most basic thing I could come up with and do. So I take I'm interested in two Macs. So from the AP, I want a Mac from the AP and the client. So I want only the download, the downlink packet capture. I just named the folder where I want to place the files that I capture. I input the monitor interface, like the Mon0. It's usually Mon0, but it can be anything else. If you read the blog, you'll probably understand that. And I also define the amount of packets that I want to capture before the process stops and Python takes over and does math on those packets. And you can see the live capture here, so it's counting packets. When it gets to 100, it stops, and you get the result. You get the average power. You see, so the 100 packets, the folder and the file name. You see the average value of those packets. So I do an average, and I also do some standard deviation, so you can see that how strong a signal somewhere was and what was the standard deviation of that signal. So is it good enough? I mean, how fluctuating the signal was, maybe. And, I thought that this was a great idea, so I was like, yeah. When I did it, it was like, I felt like Homer again. And I promised, I'll be telling you what came out of this, because it's kind of a long story to get to. But actually, what it came down to, I actually sent this screenshot of this to Keith. He was like, oh yeah, I do that too, but yours looks like it's a bit better, and I was like, woohoo again. But then what happened? He actually, there's this conference, and he said, well, you want to say something, and I was like, well, yeah. Now I'm rethinking that because I'm nervous right here. But I say, yeah, I mean, I'm going to do that. And Keith actually said, follow people on Twitter, And this is just what I want to say is that I send this to Keith, and he's like, he's always like, share stuff. You can share on Twitter, you can share, on LinkedIn or anywhere. And because of that, I think I got also invited to speak here and to be with all of you, and I learned a lot just being here. But I learned a lot when I when I signed up for Twitter, and I just started tweeting. At first I didn't know anybody. I just followed a few people. I commented a few times on something, sometimes it was dumb, sometimes it was a bit smart, and then a conversation came out of it, and I learned a lot in, just 2 months. I learned more than I would probably learn in 6 months, because then people reference you, they give references to other blogs and whatnot. So, and we're a great community, and if you give applause, the next time you give applause, give it to yourself, because there are some highly educated people that give you free advice, and only if you ask them. And, that's basically why I say engage the community. Thanks.